Linda. Oh, look at me recording. And we are going to start by officially welcoming Deb Teplitz as a member of the Motorcycling Rotarians.
All right.
So Deb, this is aimed at you. I'm going to put it on this screen so it looks like I memorized it, but I did not. Deborah Teplitz, you have been chosen to membership in the Rotary Club of Motorcycling Rotarians because your fellow members believe you to be a leader in your community and because you manifest those qualities of head and heart that fit you to interpret and impart the message of Rotary to those with whom you come in contact. You are a representative of your community in this club, and you become an ambassador for us to your community. In turn, it becomes your duty to carry the ideals and principles of service to your community. The community you will know and judge Rotary through your embodiment of it in character and service, and we accept you as a member because we believe our principles and organization to be safe in your keeping. Rotary is not a political organization, but all Rotarians are vitally concerned with everything pertaining to good citizenship and election of good representatives to public office. Rotary is not a charitable organization, yet its activities exemplify the charity and the sacrifices that one should expect from people who believe they have a responsibility to help others. Rotary is not a religious organization, but it is built on those eternal principles that have served as the moral compass for people throughout the ages. Rotary is an organization of business and professional people, pledging to uphold the highest professional standards. Rotarians believe the worldwide fellowship and international peace can be achieved when people unite under the banner of service. I charge you to judge yourself by the four-way test of the things you think, say, or do, and I ask you to recite after me the four-way test at this time. First, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Second, is it fair to all concerned?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
I wish to impress upon you that you have been admitted not only to the Rotary Club of Motorcycling Rotarians, but also to a worldwide association. And by virtue of your membership in this club, you will be welcomed into the fellowship of any Rotary Club in the world. The honor and privilege of Rotary membership carries with it duties and obligations. You will be expected to attend our club's regular meetings, to perform your share of club service, and to place your knowledge and talents at the disposal of the club in its task of carrying the principles of Rotary into the daily life of the community. I ask all members to symbolically rise. Rotarian Deborah Teplitz.
All right.
In the name of the Rotary Club of Motorcycling Rotarians, I formally admit you to membership in this club, and Uta will affix the lapel, our emblem. Fellow Rotarians, I commend to you our newest member, Deborah Teplitz, and charge all of you to welcome her.
Yay.
Thank you all so much. I'm very excited to be part of this group.
We're excited to have you. Thank you.
So this is why I have the honor to give you this data package. You see, ta-da. And I put you a little second pin. If you don't want to wear the big one, you can also wear the small
Oh,
one.
I was wondering about that.
Yes.
Excellent.
And-
Thank you. Oh, the coin.
The coin, the four-way test coin, you know. So welcome to the club.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Deborah, Deb. And all, we have Clark Painter, who will be joining us tonight as an associate member. I'm not going to read that entire thing again. Painter, I know that as a current Rotarian, you do live and judge yourself by the four-way test, and I would like to formally admit you as an associate member of the Motorcycling Rotarians.
How much we are? Oh, we are.
All right, guys.
Thank you, thank you. I'll just, before you go on, I'll show you that I carry my coin in my pocket all the time.
Nice. I need to get myself a rotary coin for flipping when I referee rugby games. That would be awesome. The kids would be so confused. All right. I don't have anything other than to let you guys know that Keith and I attended our district's members first. Our district's members first seminar last week. We heard from 2 speakers who were fantastic. We did not hear from the third. Keith, I'm going to try to reach out to her directly because I feel like her presentation would be very, very relevant to our club because it was all about virtual engagement. So I will let you guys know that we are putting those things in place.
I would really hope that we could get her because, you know, her presentation was interactive, and I think that would really benefit this club especially.
For sure. Yeah, I'm going to reach out to her. She actually lives, the time zone difference might be, I don't know, it might be good. Actually, I think it's 18 hours, so it might work out perfectly, but I will let you guys know. Keith, I'll let you know. I'll put you on the emails when I reach out to her directly.
Hi, Amanda.
Good afternoon, Blair. How are you?
Good, good, good.
All right. Does anyone else have anything to share? Any happy bucks moments that we'd like to share this week? I know Rory had the opportunity to go camping with his family. I hope you had fun.
Yeah, I can tell something.
Yeah, Uta, go ahead.
After 3 years, you know, last week we had the 3rd anniversary from Hurricane Harvey hit us. And, you know, we have to build the whole house, you know, we have to build new up. And after 3 years, finally, I get the glass in my kitchen cabinet. That was my plus for today.
Nice. Congratulations. I can't tell you how glad we all are that you guys were spared by the hurricane. I'm not aware of any of our members that were in the direct path, which is fantastic. But Uta, if you guys hear anything down there about cleanup efforts or anything we can help with, please don't hesitate to reach out. All right, guys. If there is nothing else, I will introduce Marissa, if you're ready.
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
Hi, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I will share my screen, Marissa, so that I will be at your service. When you tell me to click, I shall click. Let me know, guys, if you can see that clearly. Give me a thumbs up if you don't mind. Cool. Thank you much. All right. Without further ado, Marissa.
So thank you so much for having me and for allowing me to be part of your meeting. It's an honor to be with you all. And I was super excited. I didn't understand that I didn't even realize that there was such a group of Rotarians that made me really excited, and that you're all from all different parts of the country. Also, I wanted to share with you, I wanted to be a part of this group, or just to share briefly tonight also because exactly almost a year ago, I was a Peace Fellow in Bangkok. So I want to say thank you to all of the Rotarians who made that happen, including you all, the whole network, because it was such a special experience. And also want to share very quickly, again, my name is Marissa, and I grew up in Southern California and actually started with like the Rotaract and doing Rotary as a high school student. So that Rotary has always been very special to me. Interact has always been special to me. And then I moved to New York for several years, and I'll talk a little bit about my work in New York. And then now I'm in Florida. And I think someone else mentioned they're in Florida too. So I'm currently in St. Petersburg. So I wanted to share that. But as a Peace Fellow, I want to talk a little bit about the work that we've done, and also just in terms of what does peace look like and how do we use art, especially to use peace. So I actually started an organization, which is ARTE. And yeah, the next slide, please. And a part of ARTE is we always think about this question of like, can a piece of artwork change the world? So I've spent a lot of my adult life, especially thinking about that question. Like, is it possible? What does it mean? You know, is art just for the sake of like just drawing something, or is it actually, can it be for something to make a difference? So one thing I've discovered, and on the next slide you'll see, is like in the work that I do in New York and then now in Florida, thinking about like, we do think that our work is important. I don't know if people recognize this this picture at all. Does anyone know where this might be located in the world?
It's in Seattle, right?
No, it's on the actual other coast, but I'm glad you guessed. Or actually, or there might be something similar in Seattle. I don't, but this particular one somewhere else. Thank you. Who else? There's another guess.
Yeah, so
Right outside the UN building.
New York City.
It's in New York City. So thank you for the guess. It could be I know that there might be other ones in different parts of the world, but this particular one is in New York in the United Nations. And I love this a lot because I'm thinking about peace and thinking about Rotary and thinking about what folks stand for, the idea. I love it because it's a very simple message and it conveys so much in terms of like, it's the actual name of it is actually called nonviolence, which I really love. So when I work with young people as a part of my organization, which I'll talk a little bit about, we often think about like, what are some messages, positive messages that we can share with young people. So yeah, so this is actually at the United Nations, and it was a gift from Carl Frederick Reuters Ward to the United Nations. So on the next slide, you'll see that, like I mentioned before, I don't know if necessarily art can change the world on its own, but I do think that art changes people and people change the world. So that's something I try to instill with our young people, that they can create, instead of destruction, they can create something positive in their lives and their communities. So on the next slide, you'll see the pillars of what we do. So with my work with ARTE, and it's a nonprofit organization, we work with young people, and we talk about their human rights and human rights in terms of also peace building, and we introduce kind of these topics through the arts, and it's specifically visual arts. So next, you'll see a few examples of some of the work that they've been doing. And well, first I'll give you a little bit more context. So I'm so curious, of this group of Rotarians, who identifies as an artist? So I see David's hand up. Great. Who likes art? So here's a few more hands. Awesome. A few more hands. Awesome. So I work with a lot of young folks, and like some of them identify as artists, some of them don't. But I like to ask that question, like, who identifies or who likes art? Because I think a good amount of folks, whether it is music, whether it's music you're listening to while you're writing, whether it's movies that you see on TV, whether it's books that you read, like art plays a role. And especially during COVID, when people are so disconnected, and the only way that we can stay connected is these boxes that we see on the screen, art plays a role. So for us, in the work that I do, we use the visual arts in a few different ways. So one is, as you can see here, the idea of education and discovery. So that we're teaching about human rights in a place where it feels safe for young people to think about really large issues and and difficult issues, many of which Rotarians have addressed around the world in terms of thinking about how do we support and care for other folks. The other idea is creation. So how do we use the arts to express ourselves, our lives, and things that we might experience, like in terms of violations that we might feel passionate about. So regardless, I always tell people, like, not everyone feels like their human rights are violated, but that doesn't mean that you don't care about other people and then the things that are happening in the world. So something to think about. And then lastly, presentation, so that the way that we can push for change in a positive way in communities and across the globe. So those are 3 ways that we use it in our work. So on the next slide, you'll see some examples. These are just some, again, a lot of our work prior to COVID was in New York City. So a lot of the work that we're doing was murals. This was a mural that we did in East Harlem. And you can go to the next slide. This is kind of an extension of it. The next slide you'll see also is a mural that was done it was done in Queens. So working with a lot of students from immigrant backgrounds who came to the US and wanted a better life. So a lot of the theme was thinking about discrimination and thinking about how, they loved the idea of the principles of justice and freedom and equality, and wanted to convey that in a special way. Can people recognize what's on the right-hand side of the mural? And yeah. If you want to move your hand a little bit around, if you can, yeah, right there, a little bit more up. Can people recognize what that is supposed to be?
Crown of the Statue of Liberty.
Yes, thank you for recognizing. So yeah, that was something that, it's all geometric shapes, but the students wanted to they liked the symbol of the Statue of Liberty and what it stood for. So they wanted to incorporate it into their mural. Yeah, next slide. And this is like kind of a close-up of it, so you can see a little bit more clear. And they also liked, in art, we use a lot of like symbols. So they wanted to include some birds, some imagery of like bird moving. It's very intentional that they chose this image of these birds moving towards the Statue of Liberty, right? Next slide. So this other piece is really special to me, I think, because it was a piece that was done right after the folks that were killed in a nightclub in Orlando at Pulse. So students felt really connected to that in the sense that they didn't understand, well, it was a group of also people who identify as Latino, but also the senseless murder. So they created this thing called Without the Weight of Discrimination, We Can Fly. So they included pictures of themselves. So the idea of we can create art using pictures of ourselves. They incorporated pictures of people who had died. And they also incorporated people who were important to them. So you can't see it, but in there, I always laugh because it's in a place of mourning. It's also kind of beautiful. They included like Ricky Martin and like other people who are just like icons for them. So I thought, the idea that you can use art to also to memorialize people, but then also kind of joy, like bring joy and honor the things that are like good about life. So the next slide, you'll see, and this is one of our projects that we're really proud of. We also have worked a lot, and you can go to the next slide after that too. We work a lot with young folks who wanted to learn a little bit more about women, and women who had done significant things. So one particular person they talked about was Malala, right? So the idea, I raise my voice not so that I can shout, but so that those without a voice can be heard. So next you'll see that it was a whole process that we had engaged with. We actually worked with a group of students who were incarcerated. So, you know, regardless of what they had done, we wanted them to at least have a way to peacefully kind of channel their energy into a positive way. So we worked with a group of young women in jail, and they helped develop this mural on the inside. And then on the next slide, you'll see that we actually worked with a group of students outside of jail to create a mural in Harlem as well. So they actually, they honored the whole legacy of these students who had worked inside of jail and then created this mural outside. So you'll see in the next few slides, we can go through this a little bit more quickly. You'll see some of the images some of the mural paintings that young people had done in the community, which I think is really significant. Some more. And these are some of the students that that had done the mural. And one of the students said, Valerie, she said, it's important to learn the struggle the women went to get where they are today. So these were some of the students that had worked on the project, and also some of their siblings, which I thought was really special. Another student, another young person. And then lastly, a lot of the students, what we try to do is we also try to give our students public speaking experience. So they also went to Columbia University, and they did this panel and talked about prison and talked about incarceration. And one of the things that Rosanelli said, one of the students was like, we're never going to stop educating ourselves and educating other women, which I thought was really powerful. On the next slide, so back to, I want to just really touch base on like why we do the work that we do. And one document that we use in everything is actually the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So on the next slide, you'll see we actually redesigned it. This document was actually something that Eleanor Roosevelt had created in 1948, but a lot of the young people, and a lot of adults, to be honest with you, had no idea about this document. So you'll see next is we worked with the design agency as an organization to recreate and redesign this document, because we think it is really, really important, just like the Constitution, just like other important documents that are the framework of our democracies. So we worked and we printed out 4,000 copies of this document. And I'm really proud of this, because I think it's important for young people and their families to know what their rights are, because knowing your rights is one way of being able to defend them. But I also think we could print out 1 million of them, but that doesn't mean that people understand what they are. So a lot of the work that we do is grounded in the sense that people are able to learn about their rights, and then they can have access to this document, but they also, more importantly, they understand why it's important. And lastly, I want to leave, or there's a few other things I want to leave with the question of, can we reimagine a more peaceful world? So I don't think that all of the world's problems are going to be solved through a paintbrush, nor are they going to be solved overnight. But a lot of the reason why we incorporate art is the idea that we can reimagine a better world for everyone and a more peaceful world. So that's kind of a question we often ask our young people to consider and think about. Next. So I do believe that we can actually envision a new world. The next few slides I just want to show you were from my time in Thailand as a Rotary Peace Fellow. So these were some of the Peace Fellows that I had worked with, and they're from all walks of life, from all over the world, not just the country. So this is we actually went to a land that was a group of Thai folks were trying to protect, and this is some of us were like expressing solidarity with the folks there. Next slide. This is also a full group shot of the folks, all of the wonderful Peace Fellows that I met in Thailand. And we spent a lot of time learning ukulele. So there's a picture of the folks standing with the ukulele, and we spent 3 months in Thailand, classes every single day, doing field studies, writing reports, and learning about each other, which was such a rewarding experience. This is also me. We also did an investigation of the extractive fishing industries in southern Thailand. So this is an example of me on one of the boats that we had a chance to actually be on the water with actual fisher folk, and they were able to tell their story about their community. And these are also some of the women, some of the really, really powerful women that I had met. One is a journalist, one is a teacher from Chicago, one is a Brazilian activist, another woman from, I believe, oh my gosh, off the top of my head, I don't remember. But she was a fantastic also organizer. She also led her own women's rights organization in Southern Africa, which is really incredible. And then lastly, well, two more slides. One is, this is the view from Bangkok, which is really, really beautiful, and which I really love. And I want to leave that was something that made me feel very peaceful during my time. And if people want to, I would love if folks could spend a few minutes if you want to, or if you could feel free to ask questions, just, what would a more peaceful world look like to you all? And what would that, if you want to draw or could draw, what are some elements of that? And what does that look like to you in your community? So otherwise, I think that was my presentation. And if you would like to stay in touch, I have the contact slide, but most importantly, I'm happy to answer questions or also ask you questions if you'd like as well. So thank you for your time.
Marissa? Guys, I'll throw all of her contact information in one of the chats so that you have it, so you can copy it real quick. And I will stop sharing right now, unless you guys would like to see any other slides again.
Sure, and I see someone, I think Chad had his hand up. Hey, Chad.
Hey, Marissa, I included, that was a great presentation, and I'm down in Tucson, Arizona, and there's an organization called Ben's Bells. And Ben's Bells, do you know about Ben's Bells already?
No, but I saw that you just included it, so I would love to learn more.
I included their link, and something that they've done all over Tucson, which I really highly identified with what you're saying, is they've put murals up all over town at all of the schools and a lot of the public buildings in Tucson, and there's murals that say "Be kind." And while it's not civil rights or related, their whole mission is their motto is to be kind, and their whole mission is to be kind. And I'm not going to get super into it because you can read about it on their website, but they also make little charms essentially, and they hang them. There's two ways to get one of these charms, and one is to find one out in public. And then the other way is they nominate 3 people in the entire world every year who might be worthy of receiving a Ben's Bell, who is doing exemplary work and being kind.
That's beautiful.
Promoting peace. And so I wanted to share that. It's right along the lines of what you guys are doing. I think that you guys are doing a whole lot more, but that's something that we're doing in Tucson, and maybe there's a chance for a partnership as well.
No, thank you, and that's beautiful. And it's also, I think, some of the most interesting art is the one that is most simple, and it's like a very simple message, like literally just be kind and create art. So I think that's very powerful. I also love mosaics. That's something, we don't do a lot of mosaics with ARTE, but I also work a lot as an art educator, and mosaics are something that young people really, really love, and it's much harder than one thinks. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you. Yeah, any other questions or thoughts? Or
I didn't realize you were a Peace Fellow. I'm sorry. I should have led with that.
No, it's totally okay. Yeah, and that's why I wanted to connect with you all, just because it was a really great experience, and yeah, and I'm very grateful to. I know it's changing given COVID, and given also the structure is changing for that particular fellowship. So I felt grateful to be one of the last folks to be there before it changed its structure.
Yeah. So have you guys done anything with mixed mediums, where maybe you're doing visual arts and digital, adding music, that kind of stuff, where it might be something you could do as a virtual program? Yeah, no, I think with visual arts, we focus a lot on the visual arts just because we wanted to have a focus, and wanted to be good at one particular thing. But we're noticing, like, when we have our unveilings, or when we have unveilings and things like that, like, students naturally want to, where they want to create a poem or they want to sing a song. So it naturally just comes in those ways. But I think in terms of moving towards virtual training, I think that would be something to explore, because naturally, again, young people, one thing we've also been thinking about, we're trying to bring someone on to help us with, like, how to use theater to kind of engage people in more lively ways over online, and in a connection to the visual arts. So it's not beyond the realm of possibilities. It's just, there's so much art. Like, you'll never get, like, we also create worksheets for young people, incarcerated young people, on so while they're
to continue to try to intellectually stimulate them while they're in jail. And it's funny because we're worried that we're going to run out of artists, but we'll never run out of artists. Like it's impossible. So, but those are like some of the ways that we're trying to keep young people engaged.
That's awesome. We have a couple questions in the chat. So Terry asked, where did you go to school?
Yeah. Oh, say it again.
Terry Moore asked where you went to school.
Where? Oh, I went to where did I go to school? So I went to USC for undergrad, and then I went to NYU, and then I went to Harvard. So yeah. So.
And Clark asked, the New York and California programs are still running now that you're in Florida.
So I've never actually had a California program. All the programs have been based in New York City, with the exception of, we've also had some programs like global programs and like global invitations. So we did for example, like a week-long program in South Africa, so in different parts of the world. But the majority of the programs have been in New York or like New Jersey. Florida right now, right now we're making a very conscious effort to do everything digital. For right now, just because we were at a school, prior to all this, we're at schools. The last place I physically was actually at a jail. So like March 13th is when we started to go into quarantine. That was when we were still going to Rikers. So right now, for the sake of, we fear, I think New York City is fearing opening up and then having to close again. So right now we're just gonna try, for the consistency's sake, try to do digital. And then hopefully when things open up, we can do more, what is the word, like physical, like murals and things like that. So
yeah. I'm curious, have you reached out to maybe not because you're just starting the digital stuff, but maybe looking at a partnership with Wacom or one of the other companies that is strong in the digital media and art creation space?
Yeah, that's I think it's worth discussion right now. I mean, so definitely I would like to check that out. And also, we are in the middle of a partnership with a design agency to think about what a digital mural would look like. Right now, I don't know what that looks like. So, but I'm told it's possible. So that's something we're kind of think of. And the cool thing about the digital realm is that we can use it in ways to connect people from all over. There's no barriers to that. So that's exciting. But again, you miss that. I'm sure all of you miss being in person with each other. We all miss being, or I think this has also always kind of been digital anyways though too. So
yeah, we've always been digital, but we do try to get together, like that we organize rides and organization or that's where we get together. Marissa, if you don't mind, because I have your email address, I would like to introduce you virtually to my little sister.
I would love that.
Shout out. She's actually a graduate of the College of Creative Studies in Detroit. She's an illustrator and she specializes in multimedia.
Amazing. Yeah,
so
I would love to.
Try to connect you guys and see what we can do there.
Yeah. No, thank you. I love meeting illustrators and designers, especially right now.
Sure.
Like a lot of the good work that we've done is because of those folks. So thank you.
Of course. Oh, there's one more chat here.
Yeah. So
Chad asked if you, did you read it? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, thank you though. So about the projects, right? So about Rotary, not yet. I think that's something we're thinking about. Not yet. I would like to, but I have to think about also which where, but that's not impossible. Prior to all this, like I was working and talking to more New York, because I was based in New York, but I think that's a really good idea. Just finding the right fit and also, yeah, what club would make the most sense. But I think it makes a lot of sense. And that was partially why I wanted to do the fellowship, is because I wanted to be connected to the larger network. It's such a vast network across the world. So I think it could be really exciting. And yeah.
I like the idea that you're working with some, it seems like particularly women and young girls who are in places like being in jail where they wouldn't necessarily have access to art as readily as some kids would who are not in those places.
Yeah.
I think the idea of you, like you said, is doing the murals and giving them the space, giving them the materials and making that readily available is pretty awesome.
Yeah. No.
Art should be accessible to everybody. And I love that you're providing that accessibility to people who wouldn't necessarily have it.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. I will say just quick, and please let me know when time, but I think it is important to be with young people who don't have that access. Like again, prior to COVID, we didn't do murals necessarily in jail, but we were doing small art projects and small like mixed media project with students and collaging and simple things like that. And I remember one student said, I like doing art in jail because it keeps me from like not getting in fights or being peaceful. I'm not trying to say that all young people, but it's a very, I think, violent, it's a violent place to be, I think, for anyone. So I think it made me really happy to know that they enjoyed the art, but it made me really sad that that was one art program shouldn't be their only outlet to be.
Yeah.
And because it's good for everyone when young people are feeling peaceful, So in terms of scaling, though, I think I would love to, and I think it is about funding, honestly. Like, it's like right now, as you can imagine, the arts are being cut here. Like, the arts, it's always been a battle to preserve the arts in general, and it's even more so now. At all the schools that we've worked at, none of them had an art teacher. So our little organization was responsible for, along with some other organizations, to be fair, but like was responsible. We were the only visual arts program in many schools, and this is New York City too. New York City, like, in many ways has a lot of resources, but in some ways, like, it was very stretched thin. So I think that's really unfair to students. Like, even Amanda, I see the violin or the guitars behind you. You know what I mean? Like, how that's that's wonderful, and also like thinking about how do we. So I'd love to scale, but also like how do we, make sure that young people have access, I think is going to be it's going to be a battle coming up. So.
It is, and that's, so one thing that David is working on is the strategic push this year is to have our own Rotaract Club within the next couple of years, where they would likely be as diverse and spread out geographically as we are. And that may be an opportunity for you to come back once that's in place, and we can talk about, how we would be able to use our Rotaract Club to reach into more communities and maybe find more people, especially if it's something that we could do virtually, right? Something that we could provide a platform for, creative things that would be.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So, yeah. And then definitely, and please keep in touch, and thank you for all that you're doing in your communities and keeping this alive, especially right now. People want to stay connected in different ways. So thank you.
For sure. And so we have until 8 o'clock. So don't feel rushed if you need.
Good.
Yeah, we have until 8. So don't feel rushed. That's why I wanted to make sure we got through all the Rotary business real quick up at the front to give you as much time as possible. So
great.
Anybody else have any other questions? I think they go through, Chad just mentioned peace polls.
So
Yeah.
something we're doing with peace polls, and I don't know if this is something you'd be interested in, Marissa, but Rotary branding is so important right now, and peace is so important right now, and so my region of my district is going to work on putting in peace poles all over the east side of Tucson, so that we're getting branding done, so people know what Rotary is and seeing the Rotary emblem. But also, there's they could be beautiful. They don't have to be just a piece of wood stuck in the ground. There could be art that people are creating, so that people want to come and see those things.
Yeah.
So I see a potential partnership between Rotary and your organization, and potentially doing some of that. I don't know if you do or not, but
yeah. I think projects like that are really good. And again, I think thinking about COVID and protocols and stuff like that, but I think that there is, and I do want to mention something about you said about branding in a second, but I think that there's a value, again, to having young people, like, I think, how do I put this? In art, I notice that a lot, because there is a disconnect with art in classrooms and things like that now, when young people get to get their hands on and create something with their hands, I think that this tactile kind of thing, I think really is very special. So like, even if it's like constructing a peace pole or like making a mosaic, or like, I think also, when we were doing murals with students, like even just painting was like something really new to them, that like, I think especially we live in this, even prior to COVID, we lived in a very digital world. So being able to create something with their hands, I think would be really special. One thing you mentioned about branding, that's something we're also kind of thinking about too right now. And what I mean by that is, I don't know how many of you are active on social media or the different platforms. And I know, I especially know that so many Rotary clubs rely on like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and things like that to promote the clubs. But one thing that we're thinking about too is, especially with everything that is happening in the country right now, like you see so much social media, like this overwhelming like social media everywhere in terms of how people get their information. So this is unrelated to the physical painting and things like that, but we're also trying to do some digital workshops focusing on like responsible creation of content, because I think a lot of times, including myself, we post things or we share things and we don't either know the origins of them, or we don't know what's factual or what's like, who actually came up with this information. So we're trying to figure out ways that people can use social media branding in a socially responsible way, but in a way that doesn't in a way that people are actually having forced to actually do their own research to create their own content, because there's just so much information out there right now. That's
incredibly important to go a long way to promoting peace and, you know, just knowledge in general. Marissa, are you involved in a Rotary Club right now? Are you an active member?
I was going to in New York, but then I made the move. So right now I'm still floating around.
Well, it's funny. What you need, it seems like, is a virtual Rotary Club that allows you to float wherever you want to go.
On a motorcycle.
And just so we're clear, we like motorcycles. It's not a requirement, and these guys will all tell you that I don't have one. So
Yes.
obviously, yet.
I
don't have one anymore. I get to say that I did have. But yeah, you're obviously welcome to join us at any point in time.
And hey, scooters count.
What's that?
Scooters count.
Hey, I had a Harley. Thank you very much.
I had a Harley too, but I've got a scooter as well.
I have many two-wheeled vehicles. They're just all personal powered right now. But, you know, Marissa, at any time, if you want to join us, whether you're a member or not, you're obviously welcome. We're going to try to keep the Zoom the same. I know they're going to force passwords down our throats here soon, but yeah, it's okay. We'll keep it open as long as we can.
It's funny that you mentioned about so I actually don't know how to drive any vehicle at all. And my best friend here, who, like, we're in Florida, he's like, you should think about a scooter. So it was funny.
For sure. I agree. We had someone present not too long ago who organizes rides in Egypt, and he organizes them both on motorcycles and on scooters. And I was like, okay, that could be a lot of fun. I think it would hurt quite a bit after, what was it, 1,100 kilometers or something silly like that. But yeah, so we are a very welcoming group, and they will only tease you a little bit, probably less than they tease me about not having a motorcycle.
If I would actually, since there is a little bit of time, would folks be interested in trying to draw something?
I sent out a note earlier reminding everybody that they should grab some Crayolas and some paper.
So maybe
I went and raided, I went and raided my kid's closet. And I think, Keith said that he had crayons too. So I think we should do that.
I would encourage, I think we could do that. And the kind of prompt that I will share with you all, and we can actually, if you have the same slide, we can pull it up again, but also I can just read it off for you. I want to, I would encourage people to draw something, and I'm always encouraged, especially folks who maybe haven't been attached to art in a while. So, because I think it's important. I always tell the story. I love telling the story to people. Like, I have a nephew who's now much older, but when he was 4 or 5, he came up to me and he's like, I don't know how to create art. I'm not an artist. I'm really bad at art. And I always say that to people. It makes me laugh because I was like, you're 5 years old. You don't even know what you're good at yet or bad yet. Like, you're 5 years old. But we have it in our minds that, like, there's people who are good at art and people who suck at art, and, like, you know, and there's no in between. So I think, and most of the young people I do work with don't actually like drawing. So there's some who are really gifted and do. So I want to maybe encourage folks, even if
I'll figure it along, might as well.
Oh, what did you say? Oh, what was that?
It's interesting anyway. I'm waiting for you to
So maybe I would encourage folks to draw, what would be your vision of a peaceful world? And maybe give people a few minutes to draw, and then we can, maybe if folks want to share, we can.
It's a tough
How
one.
do we draw Zoom going away? Just kidding, not for real. I have to say, you guys, I haven't picked up a colored pencil or a crayon in probably 10 years. I forget how much I like it. Although I do have a coloring book that I can't share with you because it has swear words on
I think I failed first grade.
it.
Yeah, I didn't bring anything with color. I was black and white today, but
I'll share this picture that my daughter colored for me. But I'll cover what's not supposed to be seen.
The black and white is a bit of a problem with these screens. You can't see it. I don't think you can see it. I can't see it. Can you guys see it?
Oh, nope. You disappeared, Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think David was trying to share something, but it's kind of hard to see.
Yep, David, we're losing it in your background.
Well, that's interesting.
Oh, no.
Oh, both
Put it closer to your face. So we might have to shut off the virtual backgrounds. Things we learn every day.
shut off the virtual background. Otherwise, people wouldn't be able to see where we wish we were right now.
David, why did you, was that a photo from something? And yeah, David, we can't see it. Oh, it's so sad. We could try to screen
Let me get
share.
it back. It was, let's see. Oh, lost it. It's a dead man of war. Literally peace.
Literally peace, dead man of war. Yeah. All right, this is what you get from me. What, does it show up? More social, less media.
Nice. I want that on a shirt.
I like it.
Funny that the linguist can do words, but not art, not physical art.
What is that about? Right?
David, we can't see it. I want to see it so badly. It's got to be great.
Yeah. Do you want to maybe describe it, David? What you drew on the note?
Let me unmute you. Wait, David, you're Mr. Dr. Day, you are muted.
Hey, David, get rid of your background. It's messing up your Post-it or your.
There we go. Can hear you now, but we're not gonna be able to see it because your background is there.
All right, give me a minute.
Scott's is really cool.
Yeah, Scott, I like it.
Oh, that's cool, Scott.
Yeah, Scott and
Clark had something too.
yes, exactly. That was good too.
Back up just a bit, Clark.
But yours was great, Amanda. You was really great.
I majored in studio arts, not like I use it these days, but I was kind of thinking about urban gardening and little
Yes.
street side
Oh,
cafes
cool.
together in a neighborhood.
Oh, that's very cool.
Floor wave. I like that. Nice, Clark.
I like that.
I'm on the east coast of North America, so that's a Nova Scotia. We call it a Cape Island fishing boat.
Nice.
I never feel more at peace than I do when I'm out on the water, unless it's rocky. All right, David. We got
A cat?
is it a
Oh,
oh come
a little closer.
closer to the camera. There we go. Is it two people talking? Yes, absolutely.
Oh.
Hooray.
Almost looks like a little cat or a dog face or something. with a little
Like
heart.
far away, yeah.
Yes, more face to face and talking. Absolutely.
And David D, you inspired, or are they kind of similar? Like, and listen to people. So, but anyone else want to share their art?
I like this. I should have gotten a
Not
screenshot
sure you
of
could call
everybody.
it art.
Everything's
Okay.
art. Keith, oh, you're gonna have to get rid of your background though.
Oh no.
I could say my background is like world peace too. It's like international motorcyclists all riding together.
Yeah.
For
I
sure,
love
for
the
sure.
backgrounds. Maybe
That's something we could do is, I said before that we should just have fun with backgrounds and see what we end up with because there's fun here now.
Do you mind maybe if we try to put our artwork to like so we can take like a little shot or something?
A screenshot of it? Yeah, let's see. Who's good at screenshotting? Because I stink at it. Let's see if my snip tool.
I've got green shot on my machine here.
I was gonna say if we can maybe get a couple pictures just in case.
Yeah.
Can everybody hold up their stuff?
Oh,
All right.
You see that now?
Oh, I like that. I like the design, Terry.
Making us Arizonans yearn for water more than we should be.
I think I got one. Did you get
one,
one, Scott?
Just a moment here.
I think I got one, Scott.
Marissa? Oh, no, hang that up. Yeah.
Very cool.
Terry, did you hold up a napkin?
Yes, I cheated a little bit. Okay, I got it. I cheated.
You didn't cheat. If that speaks to you, if that pattern that my grandma has on her plate speaks to you, hey, that's art.
David, did you have one or no?
I got one. I got one that's got me, Clark, David, Terry's napkin, Marissa.
Am I good?
Did I miss anybody? Ah, David, why? I missed you.
I was thinking individually.
Hold it up and I'll snip again and paste it in there and we'll just cheat. I
I
got
took a
mad
photo
Photoshop.
in Savannah.
Nice.
Did you get one that's got everybody in there as the tiles, the Hollywood Squares version?
I definitely just grabbed an individual tile of David's picture and I will paste it on there and nobody will know.
Am I good?
You're good. Thank you.
Keith, I didn't get yours.
Keith, I didn't get yours. I didn't realize you had one that you were holding up there. There you go.
Okay.
All right. Cool beans. Gotcha.
Thank you so much for sharing your creations and indulging me in a quick art drawing. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Marissa, this was fantastic. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
You're going to categorize them then like kindergarten versus graduate school?
Marissa, I have a local Rotaract club who is for the International Day of Peace. They intend to create a peace pole, and I would love it if you could speak to them and give them some guidance and maybe some ideas.
Yeah, definitely. I can, and yeah, Amanda has my email, but I'll put it in the box if you need anything. I'm happy, especially, what grades are they?
They're all college students.
Cool.
And some are graduates. Since Rotaract is now up to 30, we have a little bit older people in there now too.
Yeah. No, that sounds great. Yeah, feel free. You have my email, and yeah, stay in touch, and thank you for this.
Thank you for your presentation. It was incredible.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Marissa.
You're amazing, Marissa. Thank you so much.
Aplauso.
Take care and keep riding.
Absolutely. I'm riding safely.
Yeah. I'm gonna learn how to scooter.
I like it. I think you should come back. We want visual proof that you have learned to scooter.
Baby step.
When you get your scooter, just ride to Winter Haven and come say hi, because I'm close by.
To be fair, most scooters, at least some of them that are out there, you have to have a motorcycle license to ride them.
Oh,
So, you know.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have any more questions for Marissa? All right. Not hearing anything that we'll wrap up with the 4-way test, but you guys don't have to drop off. I just want to make sure that we get everybody before we lose any more people. So let's see. It would be somewhat unfair to call on Deb tonight to read the 4-way test unless Uta has it hanging right there.
Yeah,
All right.
give me 1 second.
All right, so
Okay, kind of closer to me now.
Ms. Tablets, if you would please lead us in the 4-way test.
Sure. Number 1, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Number 2, is it fair to all concerned? Number 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And number 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And number 5?
Is it fun? Oh,
Will it be fun?
I know, I was like, oh, I want a card that says that.
Number 6, can it be served on the rocks?
Hey, that's for the Whiskey Fellowship, Chad.
Number 7, does it make money?
Okay.
Thanks, Rory. Absolutely.
It's a nice picture. It's Frida in Germany.
I'm screenshotting that, Rory. I'm adding it to your Hollywood Squares block.
Flower called Frida. And it's smelling so beautiful.
I gotta run, folks. Love you all.
Have a great night, Terry.
Great
Thanks for coming.
presentation. Thank
Good
you so
night.
much.
Take care, Terry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marissa. Have a great night.
You as well.
Hey, David.
Yeah.
I accidentally, I'm gonna,
Okay, now